Person this evening. My name is Kelly McCarthy. We have Paige McMahon, Richard Morinjo, Andrew Meow, and Kara Vatt. And we have on the agenda today, we have two applications. One is from Gretchen Quinn with Gretchen Quinn Pottery. I assume you're Gretchen. Would you like to tell us about what you're going to be doing?
You want to move a little forward, so maybe sit at the chair so
Sit in
we
the
can hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Do you want to hear about the business or what?
Just tell us about it.
Okay.
What
So
you doing?
I'm a potter. I make handmade tableware. I've been in business for full-time for over 10 years. I am a transplant from North Carolina. My family's here, so I moved home to be close to them, and I'm moving a business here. So I found a space on Main Street. I've already had a long-established retail business in brick and mortar, so I'm thrilled to find another space where I can kind of combine my studio and a little shop run.
So you'll have an area where you're working and potting.
There's like a
Like
back
2
room where I'm
rooms,
going to
right?
be making pottery, and then I...
in the front room, it'll be for sale.
Yeah, like a little
That's a
shop
nice
for
little
sale.
spot. That's where the
Yeah.
the artist was before. It was Kelly, or what was his name? Is that where it was, right?
Oh, he was next door, so...
Oh, he was
yeah.
next door.
But in that region.
Yeah, in that little freestanding building.
Is that right next to Post Office Square, where you come in one side and go out
Yes.
the other?
And as a potter, it's fabulous to be near a post office, so I'm thrilled.
So are you taking the whole building?
No, I'm just in the slot that faces the parking lot.
It's the middle, the
I'm
on the
on the-
side.
I'm on the
Okay,
side.
Okay, now I gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, which side?
With this side here.
Oh,
Not the
oh.
tattoo, opposite of the tattoo.
Opposite of the tattoo.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I figured that was called there. Okay.
Well, that'd be very nice, you have exposure to the street.
Perfect space.
Yeah.
That raspberry
Yeah,
color
yeah.
will brighten up that spot.
I like
Yes.
your your
Yeah.
logo. Looks nice.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
That's
pretty
one of the
color.
patterns that I carve on my pots, so,
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it?
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Very
quite
nice.
nice.
And when do you plan on opening?
Well, the goal is to open for the first Friday of July,
Oh, okay.
so fingers crossed.
And how long have you been a potter
Well, I went to
for?
college for a million years ago, and I worked as a graphic designer and made pots
Yeah.
continually, and then I went full-time in 2013.
Oh, well, I'm excited to have you here.
Thanks, I'm excited to be here. My
Yeah.
family's thrilled. I'm finally closer to them after
Yeah.
away for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be the sign out front and then the sign to the right of the door entering into the business, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
What is the sign there now, next to the door, what does it say? The blue sign?
The sign just has my logo, and then I'm, one-person show, so the
Oh, that's
way...
already your sign.
No, well, this is my sign. This is the one that's gonna,
I'm talking about the ones that's in this picture.
That's the existing.
I don't have that picture. Is that
Oh,
the-
it
It's-
shows-
it's-
it shows
it's existing. This is
the
what she's
other
going
front.
to.
Okay,
Yeah, it
that's
shows
the
the front
previous
like that.
business.
That's
Yeah,
the same
same.
sign.
It's the exact same sign. I'm just replacing
The
what was
panel.
already
Was this
there
also
for
the
both
business?
sides.
No, no, this is
What
the
did
existing
that,
business.
what did that
This is
one
right now.
say?
It was
forget,
like
there's some little
Sunset
gift
Souvenirs, I
stores.
Oh.
believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Andrew, that sign that you're seeing on the front elevation is gonna be replaced.
Yes, I just did my signage off the exact existing dimensions, just because I figured you were already okay with that.
Yeah.
I also like the potted plants you have underneath there.
Thank you, those are just for placement in the photo, but they will be there in real life as soon as I
Yeah,
get
it's
them.
a
It
very,
softens
very
everything,
appealing
you know.
sign.
Yeah.
Well, it's very pretty.
So that gift shop is gone now, right?
The gift shop is gone,
Yeah.
and hopefully I'll be there for a while.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I do too, it's really nice.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions or?
Just lighting, we're back to lighting. I don't see any lighting
Yeah.
on that sign.
They had lighting, I don't know if it functions at all, so I wasn't intending on adding any. There's, it's not terribly dark area, so.
And your hours are normal
You're-
business hours?
Are you gonna be open in the evening or?
Well, the way that I've always run my business, since I do everything 100% by myself, is that, and I put this on the sign that's to the right of the door, that any hours that I'm working, which my family will tell you, I am always working.
Yeah, part of
It's
required.
open anytime I'm working, and if I'm not there, it's open by appointment.
Mhm.
So people come in and order stuff, or they buy what you've made already, or both?
They mostly buy what I have already made. So I'll try and keep the shop front full of pots. But I take custom orders and special orders all the time. So,
Gotcha. Sounds good.
you know, it's all just functional, useful tableware and
They do
lamps.
plates and,
I do full dinnerware
Yeah,
sets, I
yes,
do a lot of
right.
wedding registries, I ship pots to galleries and shops all around the country. But I kind of have my own home base, so
Mhm.
I don't have to drag my pots to every fair in
Sure.
the area. So,
Is the, on the side elevation, are these two windows still part of your
the
shop?
window on the driveway facing is mine, the other one belongs to the middle.
So you can display pottery or whatever on there, right?
Yep, if you let me, yeah.
No,
better than signs.
I was intending on, make a line of lamps, and so I was, figuring I would leave the lamps and have it on at night, so it's kind of,
Mhm.
Nice.
just want it to look nice.
Well, it does. So far.
Andrew, are we required to ask that there be signs or lighting, or can we just, if there isn't lighting now and they're not open after?
So she's basically answered, it's just, yeah,
Yeah,
there's no lighting on the
Okay.
side.
And she's not the building owner.
okay.
No, I am not.
That's true.
Yeah, there are lights by the door
Yeah,
entrance, which
yeah.
I can leave on to illuminate somewhat. If that's-
Someone coming and going, they'll
Yeah.
see the lights on, so.
But will you leave those lights on in the evening when you're closed?
If you would like me to, I'm happy to. I mean, probably at least during the summer months.
Just wondering.
Yeah, I don't know. Is
Yeah,
that,
they're not required by code, just that they're there for someone coming and
And
going.
be safe.
Just for the owner or the
Yeah.
occupant, but, I'd like to make a motion.
okay.
I'd like to make a motion that the application submitted be accepted as submitted. Application be accepted as submitted.
Second. Oh, you go.
You went first. You go in.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, thank you, everybody. I just need you to sign this, please, if you would. And then I guess it's, you come tomorrow and can pick up the paperwork, is that the way it works? Jennifer?
Yes. Up at the building department. Yeah, sorry.
It's okay, new one here, so you have to help me out a little bit.
If I'm not able to come tomorrow to pick it up, is that okay?
Monday's fine,
Yep.
anytime.
Yeah.
Well, thank you and best of luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Gotcha.
Thanks.
You bet.
Thanks so much.
Am I free to go?
You are.
You are free-
You are released. Was that bad?
free to go. As they say on YouTube these days, free to go.
You bet. Sure.
Nice colors, huh?
I know, right?
Do you need a pen?
Very nice. I do not, thank you. You can.
Let's see, so that's that one.
Manifest your thoughts.
Oh, you have your own pencil. Yes.
Thank you. And next on the agenda, we have Bob Swartz of Signorama for Manifest Yoga.
Actually, it's Jeff Slick.
It's Jeff what?
Bob put the application, I work for Bob. Jeff
Okay.
Jeff Slick.
I'm like, where's your name?
I didn't get your last name, is it Slate?
Slick, S-L-I-C-K,
That one, okay, just like,
and representing Manifest Power Yoga.
okay.
She's opening a yoga studio at 32 Main Street. And it's a beautiful studio. I don't know if you've all been in to see it yet. It's been renovated and really, really nice. I'm not a yoga person, but if I were, I would go.
Whose space was that before, Maggie's or?
Maggie's is next door. I don't know the history.
Homegrown.
Homegrown, that's what it is, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so we propose to put on the storefront facing Main Street a modest round flag sign on the right side. If you're looking at this picture, it'll show you the placement over here on the column.
Thank you.
And then on the back facing the parking lot, we're proposing a roof sign as shown on the other page, 30 by 72. And the colors for the signs are in the envelopes. Sorry, there aren't any $100 bills.
No,
For a sign company, right?
or food of some sort, or
Very nice.
Yeah,
pretty colors.
yeah, they are pretty
I'm
cool.
sorry, I don't know where that
With the audience.
round sign goes.
If you're looking at this picture, there's a brick column here to the right, as you're looking out of the window.
Oh, gosh, it's tiny.
Yeah, it's not big.
So is it, it hangs and looks either way?
It'll come projecting out. This is what the sign actually looks like.
Yeah.
Side.
This bolts into the brick, and so the sign is positioned in front of the brick.
Okay.
So you can see it from left. It's really hard to put the angle on this straight-up picture. That's why we called it out on the side.
Yeah, yes. And then in the back.
Neither sign is lit. There's no plans for lighting.
What, do you know what the hours of operation are gonna be?
Pretty sure she's daytime.
Uh-huh.
That's why she's not here. She's at her son's concert tonight,
Sure.
which I certainly would be at as well. But I'm pretty sure she's primarily daytime. I can't imagine yoga at night.
No.
Be surprised.
Oh, yes, there could be
Really?
yoga classes. on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Does anybody have any additional questions or comments?
Just, again, from doing signs on buildings and having my own signs for my business, and I always look at it, it looks very nice and pretty and all that, but what I always notice when it goes on the building, it's a lot tinier than, the text seems to be a lot tinier than the way you perceive it here. So certainly driving in a car, it looks like there may be some room within that circle to kind of increase. And as I get older, my eyesight gets a little weaker.
I'm not far
And
behind you.
So I see the space in there and I think, could you increase not the size of the sign, but the text in the logo and that, to make it, bigger within that diameter. I just offer this as a suggestion because it is hard to read these things sometimes as you're driving.
Oh, for sure.
And it looks like there is some room to kind of perhaps still fit that information in that diameter. I never thought I'd be advocating for larger signs, but I see it looks great, but it looks like you probably could bump the sizes up of those fonts to make it a little beefier
Yeah,
within there, but
Your point's well taken.
it's
I'll
up
review with
to
Darcy.
you guys.
Yeah.
I always complain the Anderson window catalog has a full page with 2 lines of text that are written in 4-point font, and I
Can't
say,
read it.
I do have one comment. So when we're doing signage, right, we're concerned about logos. So if we have manifest on 2 windows, and then we have a sign that's 3, and then on the back, that would be 4. And we're allowed 3. So,
Only 3 signs.
excuse me?
Yes, only 3 signs.
Yes, so your signage, you have your logo on 4 different places, you're allowed 3 places. So each, your writing on the window counts as 1, and then the other window counts as 1, and then you have the sign in the front, that's 3, and then you have a sign in the back, that's 4, and the 3 is what's allowed.
So if we eliminate one of the windows, we're good?
Correct.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
Okay.
These color samples were in this envelope.
Yes,
Are they-
ma'am.
Are
Those
these,
are the actual
Those are actual.
material.
they're the actual
Yeah.
material?
Very,
Yeah.
very pretty.
The actual
No, it's
vinyl
very
part,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
These are my favorite colors. Great blues.
Any additional questions or thoughts from people? Yeah. No?
Seems pretty simple.
Yeah, straightforward today. I like this.
She's relieved.
Would someone like to take a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to accept the application for a new sign for Manifest Yoga at 32 Main Street under the condition that one of the logos on, or the logo on one of the front windows is removed so that there is only 3 signs in total. Thank you.
So where are the three?
Second.
One here, one on up top, right?
1, 2, 3, and then on the back of the building.
It's 4.
Here, where's the other page? Here, that's 4.
So which one do you want them to remove?
The window,
The
ones on
window
the
closest to the sign will probably be the one that goes.
yes. That one.
Oh, and leave this one.
They may allow you to play with the total, I don't know if there's a total square footage. I haven't read the sign code lately. Maybe I should. Sometimes there's a
Would
total,
George be able to?
a total square footage.
There's a square footage per sign, it's
Per
based on the
sign.
setback from the property line. These are
Okay.
fairly close to the front property line, so I think the size seems appropriate.
Okay, good.
May I ask you a question, Carol? Why do you suggest them removing one? It's sort of kind of balanced right now.
I understand, but they're only allowed to have 3
Bylaw.
signs. Excuse me?
Yes, the bylaw.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though it's a decal that's on the window, that's considered a sign?
Yeah.
Yes, so it's the logo. So whether it's on a parking spot, whether it's on a door, it all counts.
I mean, I get what you're saying. A balanced look is nice.
Nice, but
They could put just words like studio, private class instruction, or, something.
Directional.
In a balanced circle, but they can't use their logo.
The same logo.
According to the bylaw.
But they're not using the logo, right?
well, they are. If the manifest is spelled the same way, it's the logo.
So what you're saying, Jennifer, is if they just say manifest and they don't have the stuff about the yoga below, it's okay?
No.
No, I think it's the opposite, right?
Not the name of the business. They could just use words.
So on one side, they could have Manifest Yoga, their logo, and on the other side, they could say, I don't know, healing,
Classes.
transformation
9 to 5.
classes, right,
Yeah.
whatever.
I think it falls in the directional.
So they could
word.
achieve balance is what I'm saying,
Same.
but it would not be identical.
Right.
Like
So
a
as long as
store
we don't
hour.
say, as long as we
As long
don't
as
use
you
the
don't use the
logo,
logo.
we can put text there and it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. It
Yeah.
can match the font, that's okay.
That's-
So if, I'm trying to do
I'm
something.
not the expert on the code, I'm just,
You might have
If-
business
if-
hours or entry in the, entry around the side or, words.
Business hours is actually a good thing.
If they brought the
Yeah, no, I think
sign,
the business that
if
putting
they brought
in
the
business
manifest
hours.
sign, the one that's on the right, and moved it underneath the one that's on the left, that would be considered one sign. No?
No, it'd still be 2, because it's the repeating of the logo.
Of manifest.
The manifest, yes, which is
Okay.
considered the logo.
Trying to get some kind of better balance, but that's okay.
Well, but again, as what Jennifer was saying is that he could have manifest here, and over here they could just have
Jack,
some
is that a
words.
metal,
So you could balance
frame
it with the
on there?
words, with a balance of
Yes.
words, just not using manifest twice.
So what do you all think of that?
I'll definitely talk it over with Darcy and we'll put, probably, as long as we're allowed to put some text there without the logo, I'm sure that we'll put something up there to make
Type
it.
of yoga or
Yeah,
just.
Oh, okay, that's a good compromise. And
Square
maintain
foot.
the balance and, so do you have, does she have to modify her motion?
I'm writing it down with the modifications, so I think we'll be okay.
that's good. Yeah, right on the form.
Yeah, yeah.
I always thought yoga was kind of quiet and sweat, my gosh. For some of us, it would be sweat anyway.
Sweat, heal, transform.
Is there still the other yoga, it's not there anymore?
On Main Street.
Yeah. No.
I used to go to that for years.
Oh, but there's the one next to Sunrise, Orleans Yoga.
Yeah.
Still exists. All
Yeah.
right, so I said, accept application under condition that one of the logos on the front of the windows be removed. 3 is the limit. Once the logo is removed, manifest. The balance may be achieved with text. If that makes sense.
Great, thank you.
Okay?
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay.
I need a second to
Second.
the motion and the vote.
I'll second it.
Yep. Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Done. If you would sign this, please. Check. And it's dated. Sign it. Just thank you. And you pick up the paperwork
As
tomorrow.
a restorative yoga where you
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Mm-hmm.
pretty much fall asleep in different positions.
Would you like to sign this?
There's the time, whatever.
Obviously, if you're injured.
Thank you.
need-
Have a good night.
Yes, you as well.
Thank you.
That reminds me, you had an application come in not long ago where the entrance and exit sign had logos on it, and it was raised as an issue, and the person said we've already talked about it. He did remove one of the logos,
Oh, nice.
so it's compliant.
Oh, very nice. Thank you for telling us.
I didn't think from what he did that would happen, but he did.
We did. Isn't that nice? Somebody follows through with what they're supposed to do.
Deliberating outside.
Oh, and why should we be surprised?
We have a copy of lighting bylaws and signage bylaws.
You should have a copy, you don't have a file of lighting.
They're online,
But I don't have that. I've never seen the signage actually. Thank you.
Oh, you got big plans.
All big plans. You have them now. If you don't mind, I'll just leave this
Sure.
here for
Yeah,
your reference.
Please, sure,
And your name tag is no longer visible.
yeah.
I brought this in, I got two.
Yeah, I thought I just, yeah, I can put this one down too.
Keep yours if you want. We own it.
Kara will have the benefit.
Very helpful.
Just turn it to the page of the renderings of the 4 buildings.
Yep.
Kelly, do you mind if I just introduce our subject
You may
matter?
run with this.
I am not the applicant, but this is sort of a tweener for the town to look at. So the comprehensive permit 40B hearing was opened on May 20th with the zoning boards of appeals. Under 40B, an applicant that is doing a housing project that has a component of affordable housing can go right to the zoning board of appeals for one-stop shopping, one comprehensive permit that consumes all comments of the town and is the sole permit that is granted. Because they are the only permit granting authority, your responsibility or role, should you choose to enact it, would be to send comments to the ZBA. And I would think that your most appropriate role is to comment primarily on the architecture that as it is presented.
And site planning.
Well, the site plan review has looked at it, but I agree that architecture and site plan are interrelated and don't work entirely on their own, yes.
Can I just comment on what you just said? Did the ZBA vote down the safe harbor provision?
They had a long discussion about that, and they determined that their best course of action was not to enact safe harbor.
Correct.
So they are, but they are willing to work with the applicant, and the applicant knows this is a comprehensive permit process, and it says, essentially acts as a negotiation between the town and the applicant. As you all know, maybe you don't know, the town bought this property. The town conducted a one-year-long review committee, review of the possibilities for it, determined it was best used solely for residential use because they wanted to maximize the impact on a critical need for housing. Some preliminary site planning was done, and then an RFP was put out for a developer, private developer, to take the property from the town and build what the town had studied. There's a three-member team comprised of Preservation of Affordable Housing, Housing Assistance Corporation, I know you've heard this before, and Habitat for Humanity, who are doing separate aspects of the project. So they were awarded the contract, so the town has a disposition agreement whereby we will give the property to the developer, and the developer is responsible for performing what they will say they will do. In this case,
Follow-up
it is to do, in this case, it is to do 78 units of affordable and attainable housing on the 5.5 acre site. Sure.
George, kindly tell me again, what is the difference between having the safe harbor and not having it?
The safe harbor, would now a moot point on this application, but the safe harbor provision is for towns that have achieved certain housing production standards, one of which is to have more than 10% of year-round housing being listed on the state's subsidized housing inventory.
Right.
Orleans, with the completion of the West Road project, went over 11%. So the town could, on any project, it's project specific, if there was a non-friendly 40B project that was proposed, the town could, within 15 days of opening the hearing, take a vote, the ZBA could take a vote to invoke their right to declare a safe harbor if the project, and then they could find that the project was inconsistent with local goals and deny it, and it would not be able to go to the State Housing Appeals Committee. This is the Housing Appeals Committee that if you're under 10%, it's almost, they will almost, 95% of appeals, they get swayed toward the applicant because there's such a need for housing.
So right now, we're in a situation where that's not the case, in other words.
Right, we are,
They kind
I
of-
would argue that there is still a tremendous housing need, and the costs
course.
are, we don't have to make that point, it's not even relevant for this discussion. But in this case, the ZBA has signaled that since this is a town project, sponsored by the town, supported by the town, they did not want to make a statement that they would potentially deny the project.
No, I mean, that's not, I mean, doesn't seem like what anybody really wants to deny the project, but that allows all the different town boards, including us, to send our input to ZBA, to Selectmen. And, you know, we have more of a say in sort of crafting it, because, you know, there were a number of real concerns among the different people who spoke, who had, I think, some substantive issues, which is to be expected on a first shot like that they had.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, okay.
So, you know, I didn't want to be presumptuous and make, because I'm not an architect, I don't have a lot of architectural experience, but I wondered if, I made a sheet that has the 14 review criteria that you use under the bylaw. I wonder if it's worth just running through those, and any comments you make, I'd be glad to assemble for you as a set of comments to the ZBA. And if you have any general overarching comments that tie those things together, we could do that too.
Where are the 14 points from?
They're from the bylaw, section 33.1 of the zoning bylaw. And I just pulled out the 14 of them.
Thank you.
And if, you know, if the board doesn't want to read comments, or if you don't want to use this format, I will not be offended. So I know you're all familiar with them. Should we?
Of course not. Oh, that's giving me too much credit.
Well, it's your second meeting, Andrew. I think you should be up to speed right now.
They'll be familiar.
You should be aware of them in general.
Yeah, normally the board does not have to make a finding that each of these is found acceptable, but an overall finding that it meets the general intent of the bylaw. So that's what's on the books with the zoning bylaw. So, the issues are character, they're distinguishing features, architectural details, scale, massing and bulk, setback, height, building materials, roof materials, fenestration, color, any signs, which there are really no signs, substantive signs proposed on this. The lighting, which shall adhere to the general bylaw, and any landscaping that is proposed. So I gave you a copy of the site plans, or you all had an opportunity to have a copy of the site plans.
Is there a separate lighting plan that will be shown?
There's a
at
separate
some point?
large lighting plan. I don't know that it's in the comprehensive
There
permit.
was a small one just in the package that came out. Yeah, I sort of highlighted
Oh, okay.
what I could see.
Oh, I see, yes, okay. But what about lighting on the buildings? Is that shown in the plans here, or not?
No.
Well, it will all have to be consistent with the bylaw, which generally means fully shielded, directed downward. And there's a limitation on the height of parking lot lights. The pole lights can only are limited in height. I don't have the bylaw right in front of me. We can find it if you need it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all old.
Yep, some of them are 20 high. some are 10.
Can I just jump right in and follow up on these? Would you like?
It's up to the chair, yeah.
Oh, yes, you may.
Okay, first of all, I think from the May 20th meeting, item 1, character, okay? Proposal shall complement the existing Cape Cod community character. There were many people who said that the project did not have a Cape Cod character, right? You were there, so you heard that. I second that. Item 4, okay, actually, item 5, massing and bulk. Overall relationship between the building size, scale, and the lot that's compatible with surrounding properties. No, it's not compatible with surrounding properties, especially building 1 and building 2. They're pretty massive, and there were people who complained about that, and the developer said, well, if we split them up, with an extra wall and, extra elevator and a stair, that would be extra cost. Okay, so that's a concern, how we address that. I think there are other ways of addressing it without having to necessarily incur cost.
May I just ask a question? If you don't mind? Because it has to do with the height. So I'm curious, if the question was asked at the Board of Appeals meeting, but I don't think an answer was given or I missed it. Someone had asked the height of these buildings. Are they the same height or taller than, say, the town houses that are on the Fair project on West Road?
Oh, I cannot answer that
You
question.
don't know? Okay,
What
because I feel like
what I
sometimes
can
having
tell
a
you,
comparison value is helpful.
there is building height is measured from the average grade on the street side only. So if you take the street side for even the largest building, and these are 2.5-story buildings, under that the housing overlay district that went to town meeting last November, 3.5 stories is allowed, and these are 2.5 stories on the street side. But even further to the building height measurement, in the village center, there's currently building height for residential structures can be measured. It's 35 feet to the midpoint between the peak and the eave. And so the planning board, in their wisdom, did that to allow that third half story for residential use. So these do meet that bylaw. And you can find in other pages, there are specs on where that height is, and if you calculate the midpoint, you're pretty much good.
I was just thinking, it's one thing to look at the flat plans, but like visually,
Right.
knowing that, it's gonna look like, it's gonna be that same height, or if it's gonna be taller.
And there are elevations in there, so I'd encourage you to thumb through while we're having the discussion.
Yeah, okay.
There are elevations for each of the buildings, a different page.
Kira, this will probably be one of the first buildings that we've looked at, not first example of a building that's come in under that new.
The brand-new building, yes.
Yeah, typically, it was 30 feet to the ridge for residents.
Right.
Has that been enacted already?
The-
Changes to 164, yeah?
Changes to the building height?
I
Those,
mean, all the things that passed the town meeting.
they have all been approved by the Attorney General's office. They
Okay,
are,
that's good to know.
so the, Andrew, just a fine point, but the overlay district is an option. So you, a developer can either go through the apartment development special permit process with all the requirements, or they can go through the housing overlay district, the form-based code method
Yeah.
that doesn't have the density limitations and describes the form more clearly. So it's an either or.
So they're in that district and they are allowed afforded those height
Yes.
limits, 35 feet to the average mean roof height, which basically it's halfway between the ridge and the eave is considered the average mean.
Yeah.
Is that the terminology?
Right,
It
and
is in other
the,
towns.
under 40B, if I neglected to say it, a developer can request waivers from any local bylaws. So they have requested, they have a blanket request, but they requested some setback requirements because the Habitat for Humanity homes are a little closer together. That's how it worked on the site.
Yeah.
I would think it might be most productive in this particular meeting to look at the architecture as best you can with the materials that are available and suggest any areas that you think should be adjusted, enhanced, or inspected to see if, because I think we're at a stage after the first hearing that the applicant has some ability to make some changes.
Like
If we
grading.
wait too long,
Yeah.
then they've already sort of
Yeah.
spent all their budget on
Done
something
right.
and they'll push back. So I'm hoping that if there are things that you would like the ZBA to consider asking the applicant to do, that we can start to identify those things.
So our recommendation go to the ZBA.
They do, yes.
Can I continue on the
Yeah,
item?
sure,
Yeah.
sure, absolutely.
So I had mentioned character and massing and bulk, okay. I also would like to mention item 14, landscaping, okay. At the end, grade changes, planting, other aspects of landscaping to complement existing area landscaping as well as integrate buildings with their environment and provide amenities for pedestrians, okay? Plantings on the street-facing side of buildings and so forth, okay, are desirable. I just wanted to say that there was a lot of concern that there was no planting on the street side of the buildings. There's also a lot of concern mentioned that some of the existing trees over there, which are beautiful, are going to be cut down. Now, there was also a lot of concern about the parking, you know, the amount of parking and the fact that it's non-permeable.
Trees.
You know, things like that, you know, I would share concern about those things and,
Yeah.
you know, certainly would like to
But
see
nothing.
some changes there. So that's all I have.
Andrew, if I may, what was you had landscaping in front of the 6A buildings, avoiding the loss of large trees, and there was a third one I was writing, I didn't quite.
Oh, the parking, somebody said, is it permeable, you know, to allow, you know, instead of unnecessary runoff to have things, I mean, there are concrete stuff that they can do that's permeable, you know, and it'd be environmentally good for the town, you know?
Right, okay.
But those existing trees, you know, I know that they're beautiful and it'd be darn shame to cut down old trees, you know?
Are they shown anywhere? I see landscape for the center and the bottom right, but I don't see any landscaping. that shows
There's a
you-
landscape plan that went to you, right?
Yes, I have it here. That's the overall
Oh,
landscape.
okay, so this one's just smaller scale.
Kind of visualize.
Yeah. Whether these are existing tree plantings,
What is this? What does that mean?
like shrubs,
Okay, so these are
grass.
shrubs.
On the landscaping plan?
Yes.
So the big circles you see kind of around the perimeter, are those gonna be trees or those more like bushes?
They say there are trees, and there's a schedule in there on another page, right?
Yeah.
So if you can identify what the numbers are.
come back, I didn't let you back here.
You can tell it's
I
smaller.
didn't mean to go across your face, I'm sorry.
Bigger
Oh, no,
trees.
no.
No, I was going across his face to point it out to you.
Oh.
That was rude of me, excuse me, yes.
Okay.
It's no problem.
See, look at the difference in
Kira, we did go through the planting plan,
larger.
and all of the species that are identified are all native species, so it's a good plan from that perspective. So they should do well in this environment with minimal care. But I'm
Yeah, I was just
hard pressed to
curious.
identify which
Yeah, like if there's a
species
lot
of
of
tree is in
trees.
which location.
Yeah, yeah. Andrew, you're more concerned with, I guess I'm more concerned with the trees along Route 6A, as to what they are, and they're on the schedule, but they're not keyed. And it's tiny, again, like I said, it's not that great, but
Well, let's make a comment to identify what specific planting is on 6A.
you got all the trees
Yeah.
across there.
They say ornamental trees here.
Location.
These are, I mean, are they saying that what named as ornamental trees are the larger trees?
Well, on the other drawing, they have
Take a
some
look at that
arrows,
stuff.
they have some arrows to them and they're keyed as to what they are, but on that front 6A side,
I was wondering if these are trees or bushes.
Is there numbers on these? How do you
It's so
figure?
small, yeah.
I don't see
No, that's not numbers.
No, I'm concerned about these, are the numbers on them?
No.
The larger trees are the L1 tree.
It's tiny.
I would assume maybe the large circles are trees and the small.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
Yes.
the large circles were trees.
Yes.
And some of them are probably have been there for a while.
Well, if you look
Yeah.
at the, Kira, if you look at the planting legend, you'll see the symbology, how they're denoted.
Oh, okay.
But they're obviously trees along 6A.
So there's trees
Question
on
is
the front.
what those trees are, and,
I don't think they identify it.
yeah, that's what I'm wondering, what they are and what they, usually they're selected to grow to fit the location, like Main Street trees were all elms originally, not elms, what were they? Cherry blossom?
Kwanzaa cherry, yeah.
Yeah, and they were not the type of tree you would plant on the street because they grow outward, whereas now they select trees and things to grow like either vertically or have a taller canopy so that cars can see underneath them.
Yeah.
So again, that's, I guess the question is, what are these trees along 6A type-wise? They're usually some type of a, well, it could be any number of
And
trees.
these look like larger trees here.
Yeah, they would probably, because they have more room to grow.
Yeah.
but
So when they
especially-
start this project, are they going in, is like all the land gonna be cleared or some trees gonna be
The first thing they will
left?
do is demolish all the buildings, and
Yeah.
the town did an environmental assessment of the building, so that should all go well. You have seen construction projects, I have seen construction projects.
Mm-hmm.
It is often most efficient to create a blank palette.
Okay, and just add back
But
in.
if there are considerations that you think the ZBA should take into consideration, some of the, 24-inch trees and up that are on the site, let's make sure this is noted and see if it can be accommodated.
Yeah, usually, as a designer, you usually locate the biggest trees and see if they can be designed around.
Any subdivision would have to
and
locate the trees of a certain
And
size.
if they're, especially if they're healthy and they still
Yeah,
have life to
yeah.
them,
Yeah.
you want to save them.
Well, I know we cut a lot of trees along Main Street. They said that they were diseased, but when they actually got cut down, they were perfectly healthy inside.
Yeah.
But some were elms, I guess, a few remaining elms,
There are 2 elms in town, right?
and then the rest were cherries, which were replaced.
So what would that entail, walking around the property?
You'd have to walk the property, see if there are any notable trees, then locate those trees on the plan. Usually an engineer will make note of existing trees by saying, putting a discoloration or a note that says pre-existing 12-inch diameter elm tree or cedar tree or weeping willow or something. So you'd have, and even myself, you know, on a residential property, you might tag certain trees on the property, like pine trees usually go, Shaw's, Skaka Corners, those are all pine trees, they probably would die off anyway. There's a certain cyclical nature to trees. After the scrub brush and pine trees, you get the harder wood trees,
Right.
like oaks and other trees. So you try to tag those and say, hey, can I design around those? Are they worth saving? People do get upset when you clear a lot and take everything, and then end up planting a tree with a 2-inch caliper back in a spot that had a tree that had.
Do you want to identify trees over a certain caliber to be considered for protection? That might be a,
You'd have to locate them. I mean, it's a
well,
big.
you'd
it's a
ask the
big
applicant to
yeah.
locate them and consider what could be done.
It's a big open lawn, so I don't anticipate there are any major trees right in the area that we see from 6A, but there may be as you get where those buildings are, once they're gone, there might be trees that you would see, that you'd say, hey, there's some nice beautiful trees in here, where do they fall in the plan, and could they be designed around? I don't think as designers they probably did that. You know, if you have a tree in the middle of your building, what's gonna go, the tree or the building? It's usually the tree.
There is a note on the landscape plan that says this is the approximate limit of existing vegetation to remain. So anything inside that landscape plan area will be removed and replaced.
Who is the landscape designer?
I don't recall.
Ty and
Is
Bond,
it Time Bond?
Ty and Bond is not a landscaper.
how about Halverson? Halverson sounds like a landscaper.
But,
Ty and Bond is the old Cook Engineering.
yeah, engineering firms have a
They
landscape
merged with Ty and Bond.
division, so.
But somebody within.
Yeah.
George, back to the landscape plan that you have in front of you. I think I'm particularly concerned about this edge, which I think is the eastern edge, okay?
Mhm.
They're putting in ground cover and little plantings, but there are beautiful trees right along here, beautiful existing trees.
Mhm.
I would say that don't even bother measuring it, they're so beautiful over there. You know, if they're gonna cut them all down to denude that part of the property right here, because my former office was right here next to it, and
Yeah.
we were there all the time, and just appreciating the shade and the beauty and everything, you know?
Yeah.
It's not a good idea what they're doing there, and this is, goes part and parcel into what I was concerned about in item 14.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you say that's the eastern boundary?
I think this is east, because I think north is on, this way on this plan, but I don't see any more.
Let's call it Plan East.
Yeah,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Andrew, because it's like Shaw's, I guess they called that Skaka Corners at the time.
oh gosh.
I mean, they denuded that whole corner, turned it into a dust bowl, and then put in a few, plantings in around the parking lot, which was a major shock to everybody that I talked to and knew, and didn't even leave a buffer zone off the highway, coming in off the highway. There's literally are no trees along between the highway and the Shaw's property. And I think that's what Andrew's kind of getting at. There are probably groves of trees that are scheduled to be demolished and replaced with small trees. It takes, as you know, it takes forever to grow a big tree, and you certainly can't transplant a big tree without.
Rich, they don't even have shrubs, in that whole
that area.
location. They have naturalized planting, seed mix, New England erosion control, restoration mix. Look, that's a very steep area, so they have to put this erosion control in. Meanwhile, all the trees, those wonderful roots that hold everything in place, they're getting rid of. Does that make sense?
No. I think what you're saying is you'd like to have those trees that are in there located and where they fall in regard to the buildings, and see the effect, are the buildings on top of those trees? Are they close to those buildings? Could they be saved? Could the building be moved? Save those trees. I think those issues, Same along Main Street, just along the Route 6A. Are there any trees there? I don't know offhand if there are.
I don't think so. I think there's a couple of scrub
Pretty
pines,
open
actually.
there, right.
Yeah.
And so it's always like, hey, when I moved my house into my property, I kept as many trees as I could, which created a lot of problems moving the house in there. And then years later, I thought, what an idiot, I should have cut a lot of these things down because they're causing problems later, because they are too close to the house in these windstorms.
Right.
But
Right.
at the same time, I have a lot of trees that are pretty old trees, and I'm glad I kept
Sure.
most of them, but it did make work difficult for me and everyone else. But
So I think we've got the landscape
Yeah.
Questions addressed. Are there
I still
building
don't know who the
architecture?
landscape designer is. I mean, is there someone?
Well, Halverson Ty and Bond is on the plan, is identified as the draw,
Okay.
the firm that drew the plan.
they're not the other guys.
I think Halverson is the name I sort of recall as being a landscape architect.
So getting back to the other sort of criteria, I would agree with, I think, what Andrew said, and I think kind of what we heard from the ZBA last night as well. I'm sorry, not last night, I listened last night, a couple weeks ago on the 20th, about being the scale, the massing and the bulk, and I think the height, I think those are all concerns that we have echoed before when we saw at the beginning of this project.
Yeah,
Leaves a
I would,
lot to be desired.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at buildings that are more traditional, these one and two.
Yeah, and I think- yeah, I'm sorry.
Right, that's three,
I think
no,
one and
two.
Two.
I think
This is
1 and
two.
2 are the ones that really
Yeah.
have a problem with. I mean, I think that the smaller, I think the
I'm sorry.
homes are fine. I think the 3 and 4 are okay.
1,
If-
3, and 4, yeah, and
Yeah,
then 2
it's-
seems to be the one.
Yeah, 2 and
Well-
1, I think, are the ones that we all sort of
Cringe.
cringe, yeah.
'cause, you know, especially building
It's like it's a
one,
business.
I know somebody had mentioned it's just, it's very flat and plain all the way across. And, for instance, going back to the fair project, and I probably keep mentioning it because I live in Landing Zeds next door, so I really watched that whole project go up. But when you look at the front of now I know they're much smaller and they're only 2 townhouses, at least the front of those buildings have some architectural interest. I feel like that's what's missing here, is any architectural interest. The way they did, on the fair project, the door entry, they did a nice job. Even there's some detailed on the clapboard. They mixed a little more white with the gray, so those kind of details help really
Very-
make the building
Very
more
traditional.
attractive and appealing.
That's
So this is just,
page.
it's just so plain, there's nothing.
So I'm writing down specifics as you're
Here,
suggesting
look
them.
at page 4 and you'll see the
Is there-
building, building 1. The page numbers in the center of that sheet at the bottom page.
Okay, this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like there's an opportunity to
Two.
just make these more attractive.
So are there any specifics from the whole board that would go in that direction, or things that you would like them to consider? I think that would be helpful to give. You're the
Ideas,
ARC for the town. If you can help their architect to know what you think would be most acceptable, it would be really helpful.
I think building 2,
Mhm.
you have some large expanses of siding without any break in the facade. You know, the scale of that is unlike any, unlike the buildings on Route 6A, where they're smaller scales. So sometimes we call it surface magic, or some change in the surface dimension.
Is that an architectural term, surface
I
magic?
always use that, like even just a break in a surface of a building of a few inches just to create a corner, whereas these seem to have very large facades. without-
That's the kind of detail that is called out in the overlay district for the town.
Yeah,
Those,
without that.
articulating the facades and such.
Yeah, and then roof lines, obviously, these lower, flatter pitch roofs that don't really lend any great beauty. The scale of it is, I think, the biggest issue, and that was my concern even at town meeting was, now we got a building of that scale that we were worried about. And 3-story buildings were, for all my life up here, a 2-story building. That's as big as I could build.
Yeah, I
And
think the
now we're
town,
looking
Like they
at,
belong in a city.
and now we're looking at 3-story plus.
You know, to give people an idea of what Rich is talking about, when I used to do architectural elevation, I always drew a little man there, a 6-foot person.
Yeah.
And you put a 6-foot person, it's a little shorter than the doors that are shown there, and you see how big these
And
buildings
scale.
are.
yeah,
That scale,
Yeah.
right?
yeah. This is the difficulty that the town is facing. We have a sewer downtown and a need for housing at a density that has not existed in the past, for the most part. And there's a need, so there is a need to have more housing in tight spaces. How do we do that in such a way that it feels most consistent with Orleans? I think that's the challenge here.
Well, as a designer, I would think the first thing you'd look at is the scale of, like I said, the facades. The first drawings on 6A obviously are a whole different nature of the building. And that character is more traditional. So you say, hey, how do I get that in this behemoth
Well,
of a
And it's
building?
huge.
Yeah, so
How do you bring that into that building? And it's hard, because it is such a large building.
It is, but when I'm looking at this like front elevation right now on building 1, like all I see is roof line and solar panels.
Yeah.
It's as big as the first 2 floors from, it's not pretty.
Yeah, so I have a suggestion. I know we haven't seen what any of the, like Habitat for Humanity, that's more singular homes are gonna look like.
They should be in your
they
plan
in
set there, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I know we're focusing
I don't
on
think
the
I
biggest
ever saw
building.
that. Yeah.
It's probably the last
One of the last
plan.
pictures.
Do you have something there? If you don't, you should.
Page 4 and page
What's the other section?
6. Yeah, no.
Those are the townhouses. Keep going to the back, I think. Oh, there's a. Got a roll plan set?
Oh, maybe these are them.
Those are, yes.
Oh, okay, so, but there's no, oh, this is the front, okay.
Andrew, the other thing I noticed is these are casement windows in this page 4, and page 6 is casement windows made
Page
to look
4.
sort of like a double hung. No, not quite, there's no sash, it's just a muntin. So casement windows are not traditional, kind of a capey window.
You're right, why wouldn't, why, maybe a suggestion would be to use windows that have some sort of pane in them instead of completely solid glass.
They're also quite uniform.
Like just on the front, right? You could do it even just on the front.
I mean, they're very uniform, there's no, I mean, it's almost like you took a stamp and went across the whole building and,
Maybe.
Or how about, like,
What-
shutters are, a very Cape Cod thing. What if the sections that are under the tall peaks, so there's 4 of them, just those windows in those areas had shutters, you know, just to give a little bit of some,
Mm,
no?
it's an
it's like
event.
trying to put lipstick on a pig, you know?
Is it an event?
What is the alternative to a casement window?
A double, either
Double
double
hung?
hung or a variation in window, you know, usually in a house, you'll have different windows for, in the living room, different windows in a bedroom, different windows in a kitchen, different windows in a sunroom,
Right.
where you'll get some sense of, hey, that must be a bedroom, that must be a kitchen, that must be a living room, because you
Oh, it
see
does
longer,
look like they
bigger
have-
Here's something
windows.
that will save the project money, George, as far as
So
windows.
some kind
It
of
will.
window variation.
After he finishes.
Right, some kind, and the width of the window, usually,
It's hard to
I'm
tell.
not sure, these look like they're pretty big windows.
Well, that's the point I'm talking about.
You think it's for
The windows big give you a wrong sense of scale, okay? If you look at all the plans, the windows come down to 12 inches or so from the floor.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of privacy is that for anybody? You know, if your windows all go down that low, you know, people down low. So,
They're door sized.
yeah, and also, all those windows have to be tempered because they're so low. So, you know, why not scale the windows down, avoid that cost, you know, is have the building look more, you know, humane, you know, instead of having these oversized windows that make you think that the building is smaller than it is.
I think they're trying to fill up the facade, and that's kind of the pushing and pulling. You're trying to fill up that large facade with a bigger window to make it look smaller, but they're door size. They look like they're at least 3 foot wide and almost probably they look like 6 foot long windows or 5 foot long windows, which is not what you would typically have in a residence. And there's no variation in width. They all look like they're the same exact size.
And you can get casement windows that have muttons, so they look like a double hung.
Yeah.
But look at, with a 3-foot window, if they outswing, it's gonna be so unsightly, it'll be very un-Cape Cod-y, with all these windows that are, you know, swinging out.
Well, it's obvious this is not trying to be Cape Cod-y.
No, and then also siding materials, it's all uniform, similar siding. If you've had, again, obviously they've broken it up with some gables, but it's still a huge building. Thank God they did that at least. I mean, they could have done a whole strip building without the dormers on it, and that would have been even worse.
So is the siding around all 4 sides of the building? Like, is there any shingle siding, or is it all?
Well, that's a good question, whether it's clapboard or shingles. It's not shown here, but traditionally it would be a shingle material. And then you get into, is it a prefab shingle? Is it pre-stained? Is it a panel? Is the exposure of the shingle more than normal? We've gotten into that where you see
Is
it.
there a range you would suggest
They're
for your
usually in
deal?
a 5-inch shingle exposure, 5.5-inch shingle exposure. A traditional shingle, not a shingle panel, where they tend to have a uniformity, they look fake. If it is a synthetic material, we don't know. Could be they do make synthetic shingle panels, which are quite horrible looking. Clapboards is another material, clapboard siding. A lot of different materials now. Shiplap, tongue and groove, nickel gap, a lot of different materials, different colors. Shingle might be one
I
color.
think nickel gap is spec'd here, is it not?
Okay. Sometimes there's a wainscoting on a building that breaks up the height of the building. You get into, a shiplap or a nickel gap base.
It's shiplap, but it's like the way the groove is.
You know, one thing that's pretty tragic on the underground mall
Strips,
project,
like a
you know, all those
groove.
buildings facing the street, you know, those awful buildings, we're not, did come across the board while I was here, but, you know, look at, they've changed this, some are siding, some are clapboard, so, stupid. They all look so much the same from the street.
Mm.
don't
Those were approved by
either.
the Old Kings Highway
I was
Regional
just
Historic
gonna say,
District Committee.
Old
They did
Kings
not go
Highway.
through this committee.
Yeah,
Well, I'm now on Old Kings Highway, but it's too late. The- the
yeah,
horses are back
I
from the
understand what you're
barn.
saying, it's, the character is, they could have been a lot worse, but again, they could have.
A lot
They
better.
could have been.
Thank you, Rich. We don't want that comment to be made for this project.
They could have been a lot worse, but they could still be better, like the buildings we see on Route 6A certainly have. They put their effort into the character of that building, because they know we're gonna see those. But on these on the back, they certainly have not, because they're not gonna be seen from the street side, but,
I mean, shingles are very, I mean, Cape Cod, I mean, most houses have shingles. I mean, even
At
if
least
the,
one side.
yeah, so, or
Yeah.
even if the buildings in front, 3 and 4, which, you know, are more in character with what
In
Cape
fact,
Cod
if-
houses look like, perhaps those should have shingles, whether they're
Yeah.
on all 4 sides or
You know-
just the front or something, but I think.
Kira, if
having
all the siding was, you know, shingles and with the 5.5-inch exposure that Rich is talking about, they would look very uniform through the whole project. It would look
Yeah.
nice, and nobody's gonna complain about that.
I
It
know,
looks very
nobody's,
Cape Cod.
I know, when you have more shingles, I think it does. add
well, you know,
more
Andrew, I
character.
was surprised that they actually did some patterning in the shingles, right?
Yeah.
They put-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, that's very nice.
Which was, oh, that's a nice touch. That showed some effort to just take a bland shingle wall, put a little bit of character into it, which is, you know, you're looking for that all the time, but it's a huge building, and it's very difficult to get that small character.
What is this?
Now, have they picked out colors?
That's antique.
It looks like a
They
roof
sent
deck.
out,
Have
Oh,
they
yeah, that's
selected
fencing.
colors
They
for
did,
these
that's-
buildings, or not yet?
fencing.
Oh, sorry.
There's a lot going on here.
I'm just going to get a drink of water. I won't miss any.
I don't know about colors, but it's sort of like if I can't see it in black and white
For
working.
safety.
But Kelly, to answer the question, if I may, the color scheme has not been presented to the town, but if there are suggestions or a palette that you think that you would be more appropriate in Orleans, or just some variation in colors throughout,
Yeah.
that's, I think that's the kind of comment the ZBA can make sure becomes a condition.
Now, do we have some more time to think about this and come up with ideas, or how quickly do you need our
You have an
input?
opportunity to comment now. The Board of Appeals will meet again on June 24th. They will reconvene the hearing. I think it would be appropriate to have any comments from this board in their hands prior to that.
Before that, okay.
My further thought on that is, if you have comments coming out tonight, that we can transmit to the Board of Appeals and also send to the applicant fairly soon.
Try to
When they
incorporate
get
that.
distributed to the Board of Appeals, they'll be copied to the applicant. Then the applicant can put some time and effort into making some adjustments. And then maybe on June 24th, you can actually see whether
Okay,
the package makes more sense.
yes,
That would be my hope, to get early comments.
early comments.
Yep.
So how many more meetings do we have before June 24th? Probably just one, maybe 2?
And nonetheless, I mean, I think we want our comments at the next meeting.
Right, yeah, no,
We're not,
later.
can't count on it, but just that, so we can get that information
Okay.
to the appropriate people.
What I can do, if you'd like, I've been writing down everything that I've heard here, but I know it's not consensus yet because I'm taking individual comments. What I can do is turn this into a draft memo and put it on your next agenda, and you as a board can sit down and go through it and decide if you want to add, subtract, or edit it in any way.
And
then-
Jennifer-
So that's on the 11th, I believe, is your next meeting.
Jennifer's also very good at getting a
Andrew,
meeting.
would you look at page 4?
So only
So
one
the
meeting.
one more, okay.
Would you look at page 4? I have a question.
Yes, sir.
George, are these roof cutouts on the
Yeah.
backside? It looks like it's a railing and a.
Yeah, it looks like a
and
railing.
and
It looks like
cutout.
it's a safety
I
thing.
believe there is a cutout on the backside.
Is that for
For people?
egress or machinery, or it's obviously cut in?
And I'm going strictly from memory, I believe it was for building equipment on
For
top.
air
Like
conditioning?
HVAC.
AC or whatever.
Yeah.
It has to go somewhere, right?
Yeah, so would you have us almost 1, 2, 3, 4-story building on the backside with that cutout, because the eave line is almost at ridge height. So then you're gonna have equipment in those areas. That is certainly gonna be wonderful to look at. If-
I'm not sure that will even be visible, depending on perspective, but there's a question, let's ask that
Yeah.
question.
And again,
That's
same,
building one, right?
building one, yeah.
These are solar panels?
Yeah,
They
I
are.
guess they're solar panels.
Yeah, the front is solar panels.
Yeah.
They do look like they're trying to show a difference in material, like on the lower level, looks like a wider
Hardy board?
exposure, might be a tongue and groove or a.
If it were a different color.
Nickel gap or something, and then a shingle.
I mean, I see three
body,
different,
And then a vertical,
yeah, like
maybe a
that,
board and
that.
batten kind of look to it. I think it's important that we kind of not give them the specific design, but if you were able to go somewhere and see buildings of this scale done, where you look at it and go, that looks really nice, how did they achieve that many units and that height with the architecture, how did they do it? You know, what, did they break it down, and is it the windows, is it, you know, what is it about that they were able to achieve that smaller character? I think that's probably what's most offensive as a home designers. We don't get into buildings of this scale, and when you do, you're like, geez, how do I make this thing have the same character as the 6A side, which is a much smaller scale? It is difficult to do that. But I guess my general comment would be some variation in different types of roof lines instead of the same roof line all the time, or the proportions of those roof lines. Changes of window types and sizes to reflect some kind of internal ongoing thing. Obviously you need egress from those, but that might help. Just a grouping of windows perhaps in a living room area rather than separate windows. You know, if you had 4 windows separate, you might have 2 together and 2 separate.
Yeah, like 2 double windows.
Yeah.
It's more of a rhythm.
Just some kind of an irregularity, some symmetry, but some
Yeah.
irregularity in the grouping, different siding materials. That's kind
Just
of, all you really can do is the trimming, you know, the trimming out. Can you divide those spaces up with some trim color and variations in color between the trim and the siding? It looks like they are trying to do that. It's obviously not a colored drawing, so you don't get to
That's
see.
right.
You don't think it's
Yeah.
hardy board?
Well, this could be hardy board, board and batten on the gables. Could be shingles through the body of the building, and then something down at the lower level. It might be nickel gap or a different color with a chair rail. It wouldn't be the chair rail, it'd be kind of the,
Yeah,
whatever,
high rail.
something up high.
Rich, if I could comment. I think it's a rather cheap strategy where the building's massing is too much or whatever, to use change of siding material and color to create variety. I would much rather see
Less.
the shingles, the 5.5-inch shingles, you know, if we had to do that, because at least all of them will look very Cape Coddy. But you know, to say, oh, let's have barn siding here, and here we have tongue and groove, here we're gonna have it beige.
Oh, you mean
and
like
here
a
we're
circus
gray.
of-
You know, it's
of
a sort of the idea of
things.
breaking up the
With
mass
color.
and giving
Yeah.
interest. I think that is, in my opinion, maybe Jennifer doesn't write this down, stupid.
Andrew, what do you think? I mean, when you talk about massing, do we have just too large buildings?
Yes, even.
Too many units?
No, I'm not saying too many units. I do believe, I'm all for having the units, but I think this is what architects do or are supposed to do.
Yeah.
They take the program, meet it, and make it beautiful.
Yeah, easier said than done sometimes, as you know.
That's why we have,
Yeah.
that's how we earn our living, right?
Okay. So a variation of materials within reason, where maybe it's not a mishmash of materials just for the sake of it, like on the police station where you have scalloped shingles on a commercial building, which would have been normally on a Victorian building, or eaves and things that are well below the height of a residence on a commercial building, which would have normally been higher or larger or steeper roof pitch on something that would make it look more attractive rather than a lower roof pitch to diminish the scale of something.
I mean, regardless of what whether it's, I don't know, what the siding is, I think I have an issue with, again, sort of the square box and these
Yeah.
windows, and just the repetition
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
I'll give you an example, George, on West Road, where I go to get my hair cut sometimes.
Well, me too.
There's a unit in there. As you go down West Road, so on the first left, where Latanza and Spalding are now, there's a street that goes in there
Oh, yeah.
to an apartment complex.
That's her.
And I think they've done some salt box shapes with their gables, where the gable ran down long to create an unsymmetrical gable. I guess it's unsymmetrical. Asymmetrical, where it does create a different architecture.
And massing.
Almost a shingle
You
style.
have a different feeling of massing, but you're
Yeah,
using that
yeah,
strategy.
and I found that quite attractive, that to hide that height or massing of the building, that the roof line wasn't symmetrical, it was asymmetrical, so that you could kind of create a sense of a large section, a small section, it's hard to put it to words, but when you see it, it's interesting, because it's only one of the few buildings of that scale, probably more similar to this scale, and they've kind of done it kind of quite nicely. They've had some, I think they have some balconies perhaps on that, or some deck railings where it might be doors. Sometimes they'll do that where you have a sliding door that opens, but there's no deck, just has a railing in front of the door. That might be something they might consider to change the appearance of the building. I don't want to tell them what to do, because obviously that's,
No,
we're not allowed
I
to do
took what
that.
you were saying is those are a variety of suggestions, though they can apply them,
Yeah,
hopefully not in a stupid way.
yeah.
Kelly, I would like to say something.
Sure.
I think we've covered a lot of ground. I do believe some are more important than others, like windows, side, all that will come, okay? I think the key thing is, we've got to deal with the whole thing about mass. That is the big elephant in the room.
Yeah.
The
And
size of
that's-
it all.
Yeah, and then the other things are going to be to support it or whatever, but
Right.
we've got to deal with the whole mass issue.
How do you think we should approach the mass if we don't have a reduction in building size or unit size?
Well,
Well, how would
are
you
you
approach?
talking to me as a board member or
As an architect, how would you address the
Well,
mass
I
of a
would
building?
certainly take on this commission if I had the choice. Maybe there's another way of doing it. I don't know, but right now, I can't pretend, for me, okay, not having anything but looking at these
Yeah,
plans,
yeah.
to suggest how I would do it.
Yeah.
And neither would you be able to
Yeah,
know, we know
that's
each
why I'm
other.
being kind of general with it, because I know it's
No, but we have to go to the focus of what is really important.
devil's in the detail, yeah.
No, not the detail, I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
Well, let's not go to that devil.
Devil, yeah.
Let's deal with the big Satan,
yeah.
not the little devil.
So in terms of mass, is it roof line? Is it facade changes that would address mass? Not the 6A side, but the larger scale.
I think it's all of those things. If you were the designer and the architect, you would use all of those as your tools
Yeah.
and put a package together that, oh, that looks right.
Right,
Mm.
not just one thing.
I've never done a building quite this big, and I'd be hard pressed to make it like an elephant under a sheet. to make it look, right, to make it look tiny. We all know
Yeah, it's not gonna look tight.
what's up, you know.
Yep.
Is there a time that the public can speak on this?
Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Sure.
You're the chair.
Yeah, sure.
Can I just sort of walk, because I want
Sure,
to show you
absolutely.
an example of how I've done it before, we've done it before. Peter Haig from Architectural Design. I used to work with Richard, worked for 30 years with Andrew, and we used to work with Susan Tuttle, so I have a lot of connections here. But anyway, I just want to give you an example of something we worked on, this was an idea for Orleans. It hasn't been done yet, but is a thought. And this has to do with a fairly long facade, a row house concept right on the street. And the idea was using undulating gables of different heights. It's really 2.5 stories. You could even make it higher. I don't think the height is the problem. I think the massing is the problem. And there are a lot of ins and outs, okay? Now, this was the street side, and the intention was that the lower story is always different on the street side, and almost everywhere. It's treated differently.
The
It
facade.
usually has more windows or something. In this case, we were gonna have shops in here.
Yeah.
But if you had housing in there, you just need to treat it differently. A little more shadow, a little more depth, to give it some character, give it a sense of front to back. You gotta have street trees. And this site plan doesn't allow for street trees. You have to have a variety of windows. The thing that I'd recommend doing is, you have themes, like in music, you have variations and you have themes, but you gotta set up a theme, and then you can make the variation. So that's a principle that I use a lot in almost everything. But anyway, this is the front side.
Peter, could you show it to the audience?
Oh,
I think
sorry.
Jennifer and the others
It's a
cannot see it.
roof overhang.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
as deep as you can afford.
Yeah.
Okay? The other thing on the backside where the actual entrances to the apartments above was on the backside.
Yeah.
The parking was back here. Opportunities for decks. I know it's probably out of the budget, but I really think we've spent a lot of time and money on this property. Let's not settle for something second rate. And right now, we got second rate.
Yeah.
And I totally agree, the scale and massing is a huge problem. It can be fixed, but it's not all that different from this. It's a matter of, the other thing that's lost is sense of proportion. We would work with, you might notice there's a certain rhythm in the spacing of the columns. It has to do with the spacing of these, which has to do with the spacing of the smaller elements. And anyway, then,
Groupings of
Groupings.
things.
and then sometimes something anecdotal. This is
Yeah.
stealing directly from the peak of the cupola at the Orleans Inn. Steal an element, just make a,
Architectural
something,
Comment,
something, a
yes.
folly, waste some money. I'm sorry, maybe I don't want to say that but anyway, my point is, it's not impossible to do. That's a. Sure, you want to pass? If, the other one, though, if you're wanting to do something, a standalone building, this is an example of one that we did. We took elements from some of the, I didn't bring the historical pictures here, but you might recognize this sort of idea. This is sort of a standalone building, and it could be repeated and reoriented. It's slightly stretched in scale. That's another thing you can do. This is stretched in scale, and you do kind of tend to use oversized windows to try to scale it back down to give it an illusion that it's, we're now used to 8-foot minimum ceilings.
Yeah.
In their old Cape Cod buildings, if you had a 7'6", you were doing really, really lucky. You were rich. So anyway, this kind of an idea was the idea that you could. Now this is a standalone, and they could be linked together if you wanted to. You could have a hallway in them. You could have it share an elevator. This was not intended to have elevators. The other one I'm showing you could. And in plan, it looks something like this. This we had retail on the lower level, and then studio apartments, one-bedroom apartments, sharing a stair. This one was not intended to have elevators. But all I'm saying is it can be done. And here's just another example of just even a larger standalone building. This one was intended to have a movie theater in it and apartments in front of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that last thing I said, the other thing what I caution a little bit about was if you check out the website of this company, you'll see this building somewhere else. It's not uniquely designed for Cape Cod. I ask that we get something uniquely designed for Orleans. It's not that difficult. So anyway, thank you.
Well, thank you very much
Yeah.
for sharing.
Could
Sure.
you tell me your name again?
Peter Haig of Architectural Design Incorporated.
Haig, U-E.
H-A-I-G.
Oh,
I think Beth
Beth,
had
did you have a comment?
Yeah, and I was gonna keep my mouth shut, but Peter has inspired me, because I'm not an architect, so the term massing is not the way I always describe it, but what I really hate is a linear look. I hate long, uninterrupted, straight lines. And so any variety and depth that you can put into this, setbacks, corners, whatever.
Roof overhangs.
Yeah.
Colonnade.
And I agreed with whoever said that if you don't like the lack of pitch on this roof, make it higher and get your pitch. I think it would be better to make it even higher to make it look better. And I think that they've done that roof line because they're trying to stay,
On that one,
yeah.
page 6.
And just the other things that I made notes on here is trees, I agree. The fundamental thing for me is you have ornamental trees and you have shade trees. And I think this town has made a huge mistake in putting all these ornamental trees in and not nearly as much shade trees. And I would try to do shade trees along 6A and make room for
Yeah,
those.
that would look good.
And I guess that's it.
Well, I think that point goes to the setback issue that we talked
Yeah,
about.
it does.
And in this early planning stages, those buildings are right up on the street, so that causes you a problem with being able to do that. So if we're in the early planning stages and you're looking for bigger shade trees, those buildings need to have, the front lawn needs to have the room to be able to plant something like that. I don't think the 6A buildings are really what we're talking about, right? I mean, we're looking at the size of these buildings.
But some big shade trees, whatever your massing solution ends up, it'll hide a lot of that.
The other thing, Peter, I think what you
That's true.
seem to be getting at is sometimes on a facade that is just long and uniform is that part of it has a core design, in that you maybe do a piece of architectural folly or it has a particular design to it, and then the other elements become wings or a diminutive, you know what I'm saying? It's not the same building, just cookie cutter. You have a main core building that might have a larger scale or a larger mass, and then the other buildings are smaller building, maybe reversed or regrouped.
The other question I had
This building is
was,
the same building.
which side of the road are the telephone wires going down? Are they going down on the Governor Prince side or the other side?
I believe they're on the Governor Prince side of the road.
So that makes tree planting a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, couple of other things. I think it's building 1 and 2 that have the massive areas of solar panels.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
but then it also has a very deep section to it. Those solar panels could be hidden within, I mean, it's almost like a double building, back to back almost. The solar panels could be hidden behind the ridge and don't make it, right now it's dictating the proportions of that front facade, trying to meet net zero. I think that's a mistake, to let the tail wag the dog. You also see the same thing happening on building 3, I think it is, the one that looks,
Building
up front
2.
with that hip roof. I'm
Yeah, building
suspecting
2.
that they're trying to create a flat roof to get more solar panels up there. I think I don't know that for sure, it's hard to tell.
Well, the end buildings have a very low pitch to them because of the architecture of it and that great width. If you were to try to get a gable on there, it'd be a monstrous gable, so they've done a hip to kind of lower the pitch and wrap it around and kind of take the steam out of it, which is not particularly attractive. Because, again, you haven't broken up that facade with anything. A different undulation in the facade or a roof line or a steeper peaked section within that, where you then have other elements.
Yeah.
So it's basically a center, a left and a right, but not, I mean, I look at the center, left and right, and none of those are attractive. I mean, it looks almost like a spa or a hotel or a gymnasium, or there's a pool behind here with a retractable roof or something. It doesn't have, they have a little bit of an entrance here in the front, but again, I think the scale of that could be done. Those are, so in the solar panels, you're thinking that the way the other one has a recess for, looks like equipment, that somehow the panels could be set
Back in there, even above the equipment.
into an alcove or something.
Sorry, one other thing that's really important, I don't know if any of you have walked that site, I have, because I've walked it with my dog for 20 years. It's just beautiful, and it drops off very steeply, like, I think it's 25 feet down the bike path. There's a tremendous opportunity, you could have a 4-story facade on that backside, and have 2 sets of apartments, one above the other, with views and decks out onto the bike path. Possible ways to take your bike out and just drive directly in the bike path, and you could ride your bike to work. We should be looking for things like that. And that, instead of, we're obliterating this tremendous asset of this beautiful drop by just acting as if this is a flat site, which it is anything but. It's just lovely. I also could say that the buildings could be longer. That back building could be longer if it was broken up properly. Maybe it's back and forth slightly.
To
It
take
wouldn't
the
a lot.
pressure off of
Yeah.
some other
Taking
building.
the pressure off the building 2 or the building 3 that's really out of scale. I think if you saw a front-on view from, say, Ace Hardware at front-on elevation of this, I think we'd all be horrified with how those front buildings do not screen these back buildings. It'd be, and I think it would be an embarrassment to all of us if this happens, if this moves forward.
That's why I asked them if they had a massing, a model, 3D model of where, like, a view from Main Street, left and right center,
Yeah.
something to see,
Yeah.
hey, am I gonna see the buildings behind? And that's a good point, because that's a good question, what will you see? And the buildings up front, they've obviously made them the most attractive
Yeah.
in hopes of screening the buildings behind.
You're gonna see a roof line with solar panels.
Then all of a
That's what
sudden,
you're gonna see
you know, it's
from
like
there.
the skyscraper built over a tiny house that didn't want to sell.
Yes.
So you'd like to see renderings from 6A to see
I
what
used to
this
see, it doesn't
impact
have
is.
to have, I don't know if it has to have like the detail and the windowing in it, but just block,
Yeah.
a block, a model, 3D modeling of what you're gonna see from the approaches, right? Coming from the Rotary and down from center of town and
That would
across.
be really helpful.
Thanks, that would really play scale.
And that's a good point about like taking the pressure off. I said this last week, is if those buildings on the front were pushed back and the center square was rearranged or something to that effect, or if the one building that seems too big, one could be made bigger and one could be made smaller. Is that building 2 the one that's perpendicular to the front building?
Yeah, that doesn't work.
That could be made smaller, in the back building where it's further back could be made bigger. I hate to say that, but made bigger, it's quite big already.
Well, it just looks like separate buildings, but it may be linked so the elevator connection can work.
And that's one thing, we at least have elevators, right? We don't have staircases that you see in Hyannis on the exterior. I don't see any exterior staircases, right? So, thank God, because that's always a monstrosity to try to deal with that aspect.
Can I make a comment? One of the things that I think we lack over here and could be a tremendous benefit is having mixed use. Now, the renderings that Peter showed us had shops and things in the top and lower level. That could easily break up the facade, and it would bring business into our Cape and increase our tax base. And also it would, let's say one of those storefronts was a grocery store. Hello, even a mom and pop grocery store, how that would help the residents, you know? It would enliven the street traffic inside there, and you could also, put a few of those things, because the new zoning bylaw, 164, okay, actually encourages that. It gives you models of how you can do that. Why shouldn't we take advantage of that?
Cafe or a restaurant
Well,
or.
it's counter to what the committee that originally tackled the issue decided, isn't it, George?
The town studied this, had a public process on it, and determined that this particular site should be wholly residential, noting that it's right next to the village center, and there's access to all the things that you talk about, and with the bike path, et cetera. So I don't say that that's not a good idea, Andrew, but it was not the collected wisdom of how to go forward on this site, and that idea is, it's probably too late to incorporate that concept on this site at this time. There's been a lot of commitment of time and resources to get where we are.
But this will only improve it. It could make it taller and bring money into the town.
Yeah.
It would benefit the residents. Isn't that what we're all talking about here?
I think here in architectural review, you're asked to give comments on what has been proposed by the applicant to see if you could have some influence on the outcome of the project. I think that's a bigger, you're talking about bigger picture issues that have already been determined for this site through the public procurement process.
In any case, what I'm saying
It's
is
a good
what I
idea.
mean, and I would like to have that be on record. And your answer is also on record saying it can't be done. It's too late. It's never too late. We haven't built the thing.
Jenner is gonna put it on record.
If I can just say too, on this, the whole project is built on this financial model of tax credits and all this kind of stuff that's specifically housing. It's not a financing model that's available for any alternative. So if you wanted to stop and try to change it, you would have to go back to probably the town putting in a lot of money.
Meth, if you provided the same number of units, and then, have the town find some other way of, people could buy those units down there as condominiums and as businesses, without hurting whatever has been done. That would only be plus. We've been looking for street level, businesses. We've tried to enliven the town, the village center and everything. This is what we need, and this is what the town is looking for.
Need housing.
Yeah. Just think of the mom and pop grocery store. Just think of the barber shop. And think of the old residents who are going over there, for them to go into the town center,
Me personally, I could picture that in my head and
Who knows,
really
you might
happy
be
with it.
living there.
But I also know from the town's involvement with the Fair project and with 107 Main Street, the financing that's put together for housing projects is unique and doesn't incorporate anything else than housing.
George, could I ask you a question? This would be, the property is given over to the developer and this would become a private property, right?
Yes, with a specific performances required to, this will be,
There's no public access, in other words, like.
there will not
I
be general
couldn't walk
public
in-
access through the property. It's
Okay, I
privately
couldn't
owned.
walk in
It will be
there.
owned by the three developers. Actually, 7 of the houses will be owned separately by the Habitat owners.
Okay.
But and there'll be an agreement for management and on-site management with all of the routine things that, to manage a property like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
that are required are rolled.
So no
rolled in.
ability to have the green spaces in there become a public,
Yeah, there was some discussion about public access through the property to the bike trail and things like that. And that was
That
not,
become a
in the,
liability.
at the end of the day, that was not found to have been as high a priority as to allow as many housing units as were reasonable on the
does that
site.
become a security and a liability issue with people traversing
Well,
that
it
property?
does dampen the enthusiasm of
Privacy.
bidders to take on a project that's gonna have partial public access in the
Okay.
future, sure.
Okay. The other thing that Peter had mentioned about some type of art, and again, this might be something that might be able to incorporate into the architecture, is the thought of some type of art, I guess that's a term I think of, architectural folly, which is, I don't know what the exact definition is, but it's, I guess it's a piece of architecture that serves no useful purpose other than to add some attractiveness or architectural element to help convey a
Widow's Walk.
right, convey an architectural style or to add to it, right? I mean, we're all dealing with boxes here, so anything added becomes an architectural element. So anything that is perhaps a folly could then be a theme or a thematic element that is then put throughout the buildings. And I don't know if that's the same question, is are these buildings lacking any thematic element with each of them? Obviously, the 6A side are not similar to the buildings in the rest of the property. And it appears as though, although similar, certain buildings in here are not even thematically similar in their shape or size.
They don't
I'd like to
relate to
see
each
some
other.
consistency, perhaps in a thematic issue, getting to Andrew's questions of, not a mishmash of, you know, here's a brick building here, and here's a stone, a library drive-it material on this building, you know, styrofoam with stucco, or a Tudor building, where you have a carnival kind of approach to it, like the Christmas tree shop in Hyannis, where it's an interesting building, but you'd think, you know, not quite appropriate. So I think that's a fine line as a designer to try to have a thematic approach where you have similar elements, but they're used in different ways to create, have a consistency, yet a diversity. It is difficult to design for that, but I think that's kind of a general
Yeah, I mean, I agree. 'cause
approach, right?
I feel like building 1, 2, and 3, they don't seem to relate to one another.
no consistency. And
Yeah,
that
they're
gets-
all very different. Each one has to me, a whole different look.
And that, it goes with our bylaw, when you
Right.
look at the character, you know, is, like if I were proposing a new building and the character of the building was totally out of place, both in scale and in architecture, style and detail, architectural details. I think that's, character is what you're talking about. They have a certain consistency and character to them that is homogeneous, even though they may be different proportions and scales. It's really the difficult thing about doing a building this big,
You know,
Right.
but if you work hard at it, you can be done.
The difficulty that you're talking about, you have offered a couple of suggestions. For example, on the roof form, if we were to vary the roof form, have some salt boxes in there, have some gambrels in there, you know, a number of different things like that, you would change the whole facade look, without losing any space.
As long as those roof lines were somewhat consistent, you know, instead of kind of like
No,
a
you want-
huge gambrel and a tiny little gable and
No, that's
as
all.
long as they were kind of
Yeah, it can
sympathetic
be
with
worked
each
out so that
other.
it'll be nice, I mean, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, the
But that-
variation in roof type, but similar in character to Cape Cod style. I think that's what people see up here. I mean, Cape Cod style is difficult because there are shingle style buildings on the Cape that preceded Cape dwellings. You know, there are other architectural styles here that you'll see in Chatham, right? Totally different palette of architecture as compared to Orleans, but very original and original to the town
Right.
in that period. You'll see some huge buildings in there that are shingle style, and they have steeper roofs, taller roofs. Maybe that might be a directive, is look at some of the shingle style architecture of Chatham and see if that could be drawn upon, because it does have gambrels, it does have gables, dormers, you know, no dormers, which I'm surprised. Usually there's always a ton of dormers of some type, doghouse dormer. But I think I'm concerned most with window patterning, window type. It's just lacking any kind of character.
So Kelly, it sounds like we're circling back on some of the things we've kind of discussed.
I think so.
Would you as a board like me to write this up for you and give it to you, and you can consider it at your next meeting?
That'd be great.
Would you like
That
me to
would be
write it
great.
up and send it right on to the ZBA without further review?
No, why don't you send it to us, because
Okay.
maybe Steve has something to add as well.
Okay.
Did you guys have comments about lighting? You were looking at light fixtures and heights and things. I didn't get a look at that. You're
No,
talking
I-
about light poles and heights.
Well, I think until the building's actually built, it's sort of,
Well, they do have information on here about lighting poles. You talk about the dark skies and
Good.
excessive lighting for the sake of excessive lighting as opposed to security reasons.
I believe all the outdoor lighting is compliant with the town's bylaw, but I don't have the plan set here to point you to exactly where that is.
Okay.
But maybe that's just a general comment to ensure that it does comply.
That it is part of it.
yeah.
'Cause I drove around after a meeting, I had to drop Andrew off and do some other things, and the places that I see that light exuding into the sky are big places, like Stop and Shop, Shaw's. Everywhere else in town seemed to be very low-key, sign lights that only fell on the building, didn't go past the property lines. So I think on something like this, we have large parking lot areas. You obviously want to provide lighting for security and
Safety.
be able to, and safety, to be able to walk, but nothing more, right? You're not looking to light the parking lot up for the sake of lighting it up. And it might be bylaw requirements, building code requirements, not being a commercial architect. Certain lumens or lighting requirements for these spaces.
In the site plan set that the site plan review committee reviewed, there was a full lighting schematic that showed the light level intensity right up to the property line, and it was well done, and it was complete. And I don't think there was anything over a 1 foot candle at the property line.
Those are just the lights that I
Yeah, those are the lights.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah, I
mentioned
can see.
different heights,
Yes,
you
let's-
can't read
yeah,
that, but.
So there's two types of poles. There's lighting on a 10-foot pole, and there's lighting on 20-foot poles. A lot of them are on the 20-foot poles. You know, and I don't really know how this is being lit. It's kind of strange all on the
Yeah, you know, that's one thing you never really see, like in a
It's for safety
flyby or a
reasons.
three-dimensional model, sometimes a rendering, you can get the effect of, you can add, I mean, it's difficult, you can add lighting in there to really see what true lighting would be like. That's pretty much advanced kind of architectural design where you have the ability to model this to where it
Well, they
looks,
have parking
you're gonna see
sometimes.
exactly what it looks like down to the lighting, but you don't want it to be a surprise where you go, gee, that's a lot of lighting, even though it meets some guideline.
Yeah, no, I'm convinced it's just the opposite, that they've kept the lighting to the minimum and made sure that they kept it contained in the site,
Okay.
yeah. It's residential in nature, it's not a commercial setting.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, you know, the building gets built and you go, ooh, we didn't realize there was gonna be that much lighting, and it is hard to pick up on a plan or
Right,
something
absolutely.
like that, but,
Well, that is a good point, because I live at Landing's Edge, which is right next door to the Fair property,
Hmm.
and my building butts right up to theirs.
Mhm.
And, I mean, the lighting has increased dramatically since that whole place went up. And it's bright. I mean, everything looks compliant, all the lights shining down.
Right.
But what amazes me is the light actually, it must be emergency lighting down the hallways or something, that shine through the building that come out that are actually more offensive than the downward
Exteriors.
lights
Yeah.
around. It's interesting, but
Like a
it definitely
neon, like a
has.
neon sign inside
Yeah,
that says
exactly.
open.
Yeah.
where
It's
not
really,
technically-
the lighting has really increased a lot.
Right, right. Yeah, the idea is to learn lessons as we go forward with these
Right.
projects.
Right,
It's less lights when it's coming out through the window.
yeah.
That's where I think, we talk about dark skies, that's where you really kind of want to get a good grip on. That's where that light comes from, and you're seeing it, you've seen it firsthand. It's lighting for the sake of no other purpose. I mean, there's plenty of light there to walk around and to navigate.
Okay, any other comments? Any comments? Okay. I think
All right,
we're,
I will bring something, I will put something in your packet for the next, for your next meeting, okay?
okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. We have to go over the minutes. Did anyone take a look at the minutes?
Thank you for these, Peter.
Thank you very much for sharing those.
Sure, you bet, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Come and participate in this.
We might come back and be on the
I
committee.
think it's important.
Anyone take a look at the minutes? Any
Because,
comments?
So I wasn't at that
You want me?
meeting.
Okay, you're good
You
then.
can't do anything. It's good to have the reinforcement.
Thank you very much.
Really big.
I'm glad you did.
It's a big
No,
view
these
and
are
a short
mine.
time.
These are mine. Can't have them.
All right. Anyone's welcome to keep these if you want them. I do have another copy in my office, so I'm willing to give these up if you want to keep them.
Okay, I'll hold on to one.
Sorry, I interrupted your flow. Are we still in session?
Yes,
Because they're just looking at the minutes. Does
still
any-
work to do. Just 1 minute, sir.
Those were my minutes. These are your notes.
Oh, I wrote on the back of your minutes?
Are you
Is there-
okay with taking the minutes?
Oh, yeah,
back?
yeah, take it, yeah, I'll do that.
Jennifer, do you know who the lady was who was here?
Yeah. Is it Seibel, architect?
Oh,
Um,
Saiba, a student.
Yes, yes.
So surprised she didn't say anything. She's a long time resident.
Yeah, she's on the ZBA Board of Appeals, so she was in the meeting. She spoke in the meeting.
Oh, okay, yes, that's right, I thought she looked familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you all set with the meetings?
Yeah.
You all set with the minutes? Are these yours, Andrew? I'm giving you people lunch. Are these yours?
They weren't mine, but they're happy to have them.
Okay, you want them?
Or are these? Oh, yeah. I have this.
Oh, I spelled Quinn wrong. It's a lucky thing I'm looking at the minutes. Thank you.
So become Quine?
Just put an E on
E?
it, making it feminine. It's funny, we had a Quinn last time and a Quinn this
Yeah.
time.
Potato with an E.
I don't see any changes.
Okay. Do you have any, are you good with the minutes?
Yes.
All right, somebody want to make a motion?
I'll move approval of the minutes of Thursday, May 14th.
I'll second.
You got it?
You got it.
You got it. You take it.
All vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Taking advantage of my. being
So it
officially
is, what time is it?
member
It is
today.
8:26. We can call the meeting
Good to have
we
you.
can adjourn the
I'll be
meeting.
back to my alternate.
Adjourn the
We
meeting.
thank you for our chairman.
Steve can-
Thank
Steve
you.
and I have to
We're
go
good.
after June.
Kelly, did everybody get a landscape plan or was that your?
Did you guys just motion to adjourn?
We did.
Oh, okay, thanks.